Hello guys, this is Nana from mypapertreehouse.com. I am wanting to teach you today how to create this beautiful little paper rose. I'm sure it's a tutorial you've seen 1,000 times before, but I discovered two little tricks that I think make it look a little bit better, and it kind of becomes even easier to create. So I wanted to go ahead and show you that today. Okay. The first thing I discovered is that you need to start with a square. I used to just kind of grab a scrap of paper and create a swirl on it and then just cut away. But I realized that you have to start with a square. You have to start with a 4 by 4, a 5 by 5. Obviously, the greater the square is, the greater your flower is going to be. The smallest square I've worked with is a 3 by 3. I'm not sure how the 2 by 2 or a 1 by 1 would work. I think it'll be very, very difficult, although I'm sure it would be very cute flowers as well. Okay, but this size of a flower was created with a 4 by 4. Okay, so the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw a swirl on your paper. I want you to notice that I left a lot of space in between the lines, and the reason why I did that is because I discovered that if you fold your swirl in half, you get a better and nicer look on your flower. So I always leave kind of like long spaces between one line and the other. Okay. The following step is you're going to go ahead and follow those lines and cut your swirl. Okay. I want you to notice that obviously once you cut the swirls, you should not start folding immediately from this point on, because you have these corners and you want to get rid of those corners. So what I do is I go to the place where the corners end, which would be around here, and I cut that off. So I use my scissors and I cut that off. Okay, that now becomes trash. So now this is what I have left. So the tip that I think helps me a lot is, instead of starting to fold right here, I fold my paper, my swirl. I start to kind of like crumple the edges and fold it also in half. So now I have this fold in the middle of my swirl, and then the edges are also very, very crumpled, more towards the outside after I fold it in half, right? So I fold and I kind of crumple and push those edges towards the inside. Now there's going to be places where it's going to be thin. That's fine. In those areas, just kind of push the edges towards the inside. You want to give it a distressed look. I found that the more distressed and the less equal or symmetrical are the edges of the swirl, the more beautiful the rose turns out to be. I guess I'm a distressed kind of chick, but it is what it is. Okay? So now that I have my funky looking swirl, it no longer looks like a regular swirl, okay, I'm going to start folding towards the inside. I start on the outside of my swirl and I begin to fold. Okay. Now, one thing that I found that's very, very helpful as I do this is to every so often put a little bit of glue in between, the different layers, just because if you, for whatever reason, lose the hold, you see what I'm doing? I'm just kind of wrapping and wrapping around. But it's very important that you once in a while use an adhesive to keep it together, because if right now someone comes in and tries to talk to me, I would lose the place. It would kind of all unravel. Okay, so I use the Tombow power tabs first because they're very, very strong. Second, because they're my favorite. And they're very easy to use. Okay, so I suggest you put it a little bit towards the bottom, and right there you make sure you cover it with the following layer. So right now, if it unravels, it'll stay well, not if it unravels, but if I let it go, it would stay together. Okay, and I continue to wrap and wrap and I wrap around. And it becomes a lot easier once you know that it's secure in a specific spot. Every so often, look at it to make sure you're getting the look that you desire. And that you're crumpling the areas that need to be crumpled, or lifting areas that need to be lifted. Okay, so right about here, I grab another power tab and I adhere it. There. Okay. Towards the end, I tend to add a lot more of the power tabs, just because it becomes a little harder to keep the paper where I want it. So once I like the look of the flower, I tend to put a power tab there, just so that I can make sure that it is the way that I want it to be. So I grab the last half power tab put it there. But these tabs are not cooperating with me. Yeah. Okay. Now at the end, you should have something like this. Okay. And that's exactly what you want. You want to be able to have a big enough area that if you put a complete power tab here, you would be able to push your flower in towards that. So now I'm going to grab a big power tab, complete power tab, okay, and I'm going to put it in the center of my flower. Now, I'm just going to push all the bottom, all that center towards that bottom, and accommodate the flower accordingly. Okay, and there you have it. You have a little cute little rose, right? I would love to see if you do practice. I mean, it takes a little practice. This one might not be the most beautiful one because I did it in a rush, but it does take a little bit of practice to get them to look the way you want to. So practice some, come back to my blog and leave me a comment with a link of where I can see your little beautiful flowers, all right? Again, I am Nana from mypapertreehouse.com, and I would love to see what you can create. Thank you.